Dude, everybody talks about 97, 98, when, as the time of when the Monday Night Wars truly began.
Hmm.
But you know what? I think about it. I think 96 was the key year.
Well, yeah, 96 was the precursor. It was the before everything started because you see the blocks,
And
these old blocks starting to build up.
yeah, you had Scott Hall, Kevin Nash,
Razor Ramon, Diesel.
and then you had just seen them in a WWF pay-per-view in January, and now April, May, all of a sudden they're now in WCW.
Hmm.
Who do you think had the better pay-per-views for that year, though?
It's weird, because I was looking at the WWE ones, and I completely forgot that the WWE did before they had like these other gimmick pay-per-views like Hell in the Cell or the what's the other one called, Backlash, for example.
Right.
They had in your house pay-per-views,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like the main title was in your house, and it'd be like in your house 7 friends better enemies, for example. So it's just like they would have like the headline and then the subtext. It was like
Right.
always there was always this underlying thing. So yeah, I completely forgot. I remember the in your house, but I completely forgot that
It
they
was a bunch of
had.
multiple pay-per-views.
Yeah, yeah, and to think of it, yeah, because they would always underline, of course, the big events like WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, for example. But yeah, I just completely forgot the subheading of in your house pay-per-views. Yeah.
Well, tonight, dude, we're going into a deep dive into the WWE and WCW pay-per-views. And I think, we're going to have to bring it down to a final end of who had the better pay-per-view.
Let's get ready
All
to
right.
rumble!
So let's find out.
All right. So just a little background. 96, like we said before, it was a precursor to the Monday Night Wars. It was like the opening salvo, if you will. So from what I had to go back because like with these the first pay-per-view of 96 for the WWE, it's the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
The Royal Rumble, I believe, was in January, right? It was January 26th of 1986. And it's funny because like you see the card before the actual like the actual match. So like for example, I completely forgot about this wrestler. I because he was like a garbage dude. His name was Duke Jarosi. Um, I have no idea what happened to him afterwards, but like um he wrestled Triple H when he was under still his Hunter Hearst Helmsley, snob persona.
Right, when he was
And
that like Prince upper class
yeah, like
persona.
yeah, it was like a blue blood, like a Connecticut blue blood. That's what it
Yeah.
was. So like he was still doing that, and there was a stipulation for it was like the last entrant in the Royal Rumble, number 30.
Okay.
So surprisingly though, they didn't give it to Triple H, they gave it to Duke DeRossi, who, I mean, that's just weird
So
looking at that because like
that's a weird yeah, that's a weird thing. But even back then at that point, Triple H wasn't as big as he became.
right.
That was sort of as, he was sort of in that lower mid card level at that point.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, he was still like I guess like not even like a mid Carter. I think he was like still like, was it like that
that
third tier
under
maybe?
yeah, that undercard, it's that yeah. It's that like first match of the pay-per-view type thing where it's a warm-up match for the crowd in all actuality.
Right, right. And then from there, there's just this singles match, this random match between Ahmed Johnson and Jeff Jarrett that ends in a disqualification. Because that's funny because the Duke DeRossi and the Ahmed Johnson, those matches, they all ended in disqualification.
Oh,
So then, and that's not the end of it though, because then later on, later on we had a tag team match between the Smoking Guns, Bart Gunn and Billy Gunn,
Right.
and they beat the Body Don. Remember the Body Donnas?
No. Like I remember the Smoking Guns, like Billy Gunn, badass Billy Gunn. There we go.
Yeah, the Body Donnas were Skip and Zip, and of course, one of those was the um, he was the husband of Sunny. This is like one of the first appearances of Sunny.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I forgot. My goodness, it kills me. Oh, Chris Candido. That's who it is. Chris Candido is, I believe, Skip, and I forgot who Zip is. But yeah, like they're the body. They're like this um, Richard Simmons like exercise guru gimmick. Like I told, it's a stupid gimmick. Jeez, oh my god. Anyway,
Well,
moving
well,
on. You know,
well. Hold on. Speaking of stupid gimmicks, we should probably welcome everybody into the show.
right.
So, hey, everybody, welcome. This is Cutscenes and Clotheslines. I'm Mike.
Yeah.
This is the FVD.
Yeah.
Either what was it? The best.
The best wrestling name or the worst venereal disease.
There we go.
You've got FVD. Oh my God, Doc, how much time do I have left?
So tonight we're talking about wrestling pay-per-views. So we're going deep diving into WWE and WCW. We just did a little bit of a deep dive there into the Royal Rumble. So
I got really into it.
let's go back to the Royal Rumble. What was the next match?
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Excuse me. Okay, so then after that, then we had um, it was the penultimate match before the actual Royal Rumble. So then you had Goldust with Marlena defeating Razor Ramon for the Intercontinental Championship.
Okay, so see, this starts that whole theory about what we were talking about. You have Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, wrestling for WWE in January for the Intercontinental Championship. I think he was a champion, right? If I
Yeah, he
remember
was the
correctly.
Intercontinental Championship. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so all right, and then you have Goldust,
right.
also Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah, yeah. And the weird thing about it is like like I was saying, you see these little you see these little blocks. Like
Yeah,
he drops the title to Goldust. Um, which is I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that the Goldust character was very popular back then, but I mean, for Razor Ramon to drop it to Goldust at the Royal Rumble, it's just this. We didn't know at the time
S-
the inklings that were behind the scenes,
right. Yeah.
but yeah, to drop it that way,
Do you think
that's a
maybe
yeah.
do you think maybe like with creative he was sort of like at that point where he was like, look, I'm done. Like I'm out of here in just a little while. I'm willing to drop the title.
Well, I mean, Scott Hall always saw himself as a a big name card. He always saw
Right.
himself as a main eventer. So, they kept I mean, he was always I mean, for a while he was a Intercontinental Championship. So like he wanted to move to that extra tier, that extra step because he was a popular. His character was huge.
Right.
It
And
really
he was
was.
part of the
It was
clique, right?
Yeah, yeah. He was one
So
of
it
the
was
Click
him, Kevin
members.
Nash, Shawn Michaels, Sean Waltman,
Hmm. Yeah.
1, 2, 3 kid.
Uh, exactly. Yeah, the 1, 2, 3 kid at that time. But yeah, you could just see you could just see his body language. Like you could tell
Hmm.
him and Kevin Nash when you see them like in the in these matches or you see them during this time. It's the body language that they have. The body language that they're just like, you know what, this company, um, they're pushing Shawn Michaels hard. They're pushing Bret Hart harder. They're
Right.
pushing all these other guys, but like me and the big man, Diesel and I, Razor Ramon, we're ready for that extra step too. You might as well be pushing us as well. And
Right.
but you can see that body language that they're just like uncomfortable where they are right now.
Yeah. Exactly. And then we go into the Royal Rumble. You have Shawn Michaels, who wins the Royal Rumble for the second year
Hmm. And again, he does it by super kicking uh, Diesel, aka Kevin Nash, over the top
over the
ropes.
top rope.
And after the match, you just see Kevin Nash. He comes back in, and like the physical disgust on him, like his face,
Yeah,
his body language, everything. He's in there, and like Shawn Michaels, he's having, he's celebrating, and he goes up to give him a high five, but you could tell that
he didn't
like
care.
I like yeah, I don't want to be here. Like I don't want to be like I know Shawn Michaels is my boy, and I'm doing this because he's my friend or he's my boy. He's part of the clique, but I don't want to be here. Like I don't want to celebrate something that that was supposed to be mine
Right.
again.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then you have the last match of the event, which was The Undertaker defeating Bret Hart by disqualification.
By this exactly the third match in this pay-per-view that ends with a disqualification.
I mean, we're talking
Oh man.
that's not a way to run a pay-per-view. I mean, what was WWF thinking about during that time as far as pay-per-views? Like,
Well, it's just like, it's funny because like I said before, it's a precursor to what you see of the Monday Night Wars and the Attitude Era. So
hmm
like this new generation, this is like the last year basically of the new generation that they're pushing.
right.
But you see a lot of matches end in disqualification, and I go back to that Attitude Era, and it was the same thing. A lot of
Well,
matches end in disqualifications.
it was
So yeah,
weird. Yeah, it was a weird
yeah,
time.
yeah. So I remember looking, I'm like. I don't remember this many matches ending in disqualification. Why were they ending in so many? Like, could they not figure out an end? Was it like with too many egos in the way? Like, what is this? Why is there so many disqualifications? I don't get it.
I think it was more of like really they didn't want to hurt the characters or trying
Hmm.
not to hurt the characters because if you look at it in a lot of them, it was sort of like a Ahmed Johnson, in that match. It wasn't really a major push for him. I mean, he was a mid carder. So,
Yeah, but he was getting some momentum at least.
well, but he didn't really start with any big momentum until Nation of Domination, right?
No, he was. Was he? I think he had a feud
With
with
them.
Nation of
Yeah.
Domination. Um, but oh my goodness. If I remember correctly, um yeah, he was building some momentum, like he was
Yeah.
building some
It just
steam.
what he was starting to.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and I think it was just maybe the creative team just didn't want to maybe affect a character wrong or once again think about it. Who ran the company at the time? Vince McMahon. He was notorious for, yeah, we're going to change this. We're going to do, and from that gorilla position.
Hmm.
So maybe it was just one of those where if the crowd wasn't popping, he was just like, fuck it, just end it in a disqualification. So we get a little bit of a crowd pop.
That is true because he is notorious for doing that, for changing matches. And if he didn't get the results that he wanted, he would even re-edit it
Yeah,
and start the match all over again, which I'm
exactly.
surprising he didn't do for one of the Royal Rumbles that we'll cover later on.
Oh
But
yeah.
anyway.
But yeah, no. So exactly. So what would you rate this pay per view?
For being the Royal Rumble, I mean, for me on the scale of 1 to 10, I have to give this like a 5.
You were more generous than me. Yeah, that it was awful, dude. Like, and you could just see the disgust in some of the matches, And no, I rated it as actually a 3.5.
Oh, 3 point. Wow,
Yeah, it
wow.
wasn't. It was not a
Like
good pay per view.
it had it had like its so moments, but I think the saving grace of this was I think the Undertaker and Bret Hart match.
Yeah,
Just but it was like it could have been a higher rated one, but except for the interference again with the whole Diesel thing, I know, but yeah, I'm still going with the 5.
okay, 5. Okay, so we're moving into In Your House, Rage in the Cage.
Rage in the Cage.
Should be the
Yes.
second pay-per-view. So this one was in February. Looks like we did this one in the Louisville Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
So
The Louisville, Kentucky.
so we had Diesel demanding a championship match after losing to Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so seems an interesting way to go. But like, let's look at the actual card itself. I mean, Jake Roberts versus Tatanka. That was actually a pretty good match.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was. It's funny too because like it only lasts like maybe 5 minutes. It's like a 5 minute match,
Yeah, but it was
but but Jake Roberts being the professional that he is, that he's gonna give you the best he's gonna got. That's why he's well regarded
but if,
as one of the
but if you
best
remember,
workers.
like during that time, I mean, he was pretty messed up at that time, and
Well, yeah, he was on his way out, and physically, yeah, you're starting to see the unfortunately
the
some of
effects.
the effects of his after his after parties, I guess you could
Yeah.
say.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. You could see the effects of the illicit substances that he used. I'm sure.
Right.
And then Tatanka. I mean, Tatanka was a interesting character. I mean, he came back quite a few times.
Yeah,
And so
but the shame about Tatanka was that you could see that they were trying to push him so much, but the crowd just it was like, yeah, just
But the funny thing about Tatanka was Tatanka actually, was a businessman before going into WWE.
I should have stayed in it.
Yeah,
He should
well,
stayed a businessman.
well, he still did. Like WWE was just his fun thing. He's like, I want to learn how to do this.
Well, that explains a lot because not exactly the best on the mic either.
Yeah, yeah, no, his
Yeah, yeah,
his talking skills were not very good.
yeah, not great at all.
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Jeez.
And then we've got Razor Ramon defeating the 1-2-3 Kid.
In a crybaby match, I
What is a crybaby match? Like, how?
so the stipulation is, and this is, I couldn't believe that I actually had to go back and look at this, but it was in which involved a stipulation requiring the winner force the loser to suck a giant baby bottle and wear powdered diapers.
Okay,
Again,
gotcha.
this smells of Vince McMahon. Because I mean,
It
come on.
was, yeah. And
It,
and you're talking Razor Ramon. That's one of your big name stars, and then that's a gimmick match. That's
that
all it
you could
is.
you
It was a
could
very
tell that
poorly
this
done gimmick match.
yeah this you could tell that this was to humiliate Razor Ramon, I think,
Yeah,
because he wouldn't resign
yeah.
and he wouldn't do it. So like Vince McMahon says, like, okay, I'm just gonna put you in this ridiculous match, a crazy match where you and the 1-2-3 Kid are um are going to have this match, and you're gonna the winner or the loser sucks on a
A bottle.
giant baby bottle and
Yeah,
wear diapers doing it. That's all I
yeah.
gotta say. Oh,
But
it's just
see, but
terrible.
but with that though, you begin or you see sort of why Scott Hall was able to push so well into WCW. Like, I mean, the gimmicks in WWE at that time were horrible. They were very poorly done. Creative was just I don't know what creative was thinking in some cases.
They were still like in that family friendly zone. So like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you know what's gonna be funny? A big man in diapers and sucking on a bottle. That's funny right there. That's funny. And unfortunately, the person that got the end of it was the 1-2-3 Kid. He was the one that sucked on the bottle, and yeah,
See,
poor
and
dude.
that's one of those where your best friends. I mean, like your friends in real life. So a
Hmm.
match like that, it's got to be fun though because
Yeah, because like you look at the rest of the matches though, it's like you see I see all of these other matches,
Hmm.
except for the championship matches, for
Right.
example, they're all single matches. They all end. It is the only match that has that stipulation, like a stipulation in there.
Yeah, all of them are regular
S-
matches.
Yeah, all of them are regular matches except for this Razor Ramon and 1 2 3 Kid crybaby match. Which you see this inkling, you see that you're like, okay, it's all these other ones ended in some sort of pin, but this one match, which had these two friends, and obviously Razor Ramon being friends with the 1 2 3 Kid at that time, and a crybaby match, like,
Yeah.
you see that you see that you just like this inkling of like, okay, something's up, something's going on. When you look, when you pan back and you really look at it.
Right.
So yeah, it's just interesting that that crybaby match. They could have done anything else but a crybaby match. Oh boy. Anyway,
All right. So, uh, the final match, the championship match. You're talking Bret Hart defeating Diesel in a steel cage.
right.
That was
Uh,
that had to be one of the better matches of the night. But once again, if you look at Diesel at that time,
mhm.
it was like, come on, let's just get this done.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean, first of all, Kevin Nash isn't exactly Bret Hart's biggest fan either.
Right, yeah. They don't
Bret
like each
Hart.
other. They didn't care for each
Yeah,
other.
yeah, Bret Hart. I don't think Bret Hart never liked any of those guys that were in the clique, for reasons, of course, for his own reasons.
Well, yeah.
Um, he saw him as a real toxic environment at that time. Before the word toxic was even thrown around, he saw them as um, this negative thing
On the roster.
on the WWE roster. So yeah, he always had something. He had a respect for them, I think, for their abilities in the ring, but as human beings, like actual persons, that's a whole different story.
See, and if you look at it, I mean, like Bret Hart was always wrestling. That was the thing, I mean, but he came from a wrestling family,
No,
so
he came from like the wrestling
yeah,
family in Canada. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
He came from the dungeon, where everybody came from, you
Yeah, his
know.
father Stu Hart, very famous for this art form that it's called stretching. So like it was like these first holds, like they would like these holes that he would put people in.
Hmm.
Very famous for creating that. So like that's what they're known for.
Yeah,
So yeah, the dungeon.
it's that
Yeah,
submission wrestling.
exactly, exactly. So that's he was a big developer in that. But yeah, um, the Hart family. That's a whole other subject by itself.
That will definitely be an episode in the future. So we will
As
definitely do some research on that one.
Yeah, but
Uh,
again, it's just like you see these blocks, these little things like this brick and on top of brick of this building of the Monday Night Wars.
hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then, like at that time, this is when they were beginning to push Shawn Michaels, and then they were beginning to, push Brett a little bit. But I think even then, by that time, you're starting to see the downturn and down curve of Brett as well, which is like when you look at some of the future pay-per-views in this year, it sort of leads up to everything that happens. What was it, 97?
Hmm.
With the
And right,
um oh the screw job, the Toronto screw job.
yeah, and yeah, at this time though, I think Bret Hart though is not as discontent. I think he's just disgusted um, with Diesel, Shawn Michaels.
Just
He's disgusted with the click.
tired with the click, yeah.
Yeah, he's just tied with the click. That's what it is. I think, me personally, this is what I personally think. I think um, between Razor Ramon, aka Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, between those two guys, um, the reason that they probably left WWF was I think because of Shawn Michaels or not Shawn Michaels,
Bret
Bret Hart.
Hart.
Yeah, because Bret Hart, I mean, he's got a lot of push, he's got a lot of pull. He's a champ. He's one of the main guys. So if he's not happy and he's disgusted with these guys, um, what
They're
makes you
not
think?
getting pushes.
Yeah,
Like
they're not getting these pushes. So like, yeah, he's that roadblock because, like I said before, him and Sean are getting the pushes, and Diesel, he's not winning any titles. Razor Ramon, he's the Intercontinental Championship. He's the Intercontinental Champion. I'm sorry, and
well,
you don't.
was because I
Yeah,
mean, if you
yeah,
think about it, he lost the title first pay-per-view of the year.
yeah. So you see these guys, and they're not getting the pushes that I say that they deserve.
Right.
Because I know Kevin Nash was at one time a champ, the heavyweight champ, but that's because um, um, Shawn Michaels was out with his back injury.
Right. Yeah, he had it when Michaels was out for that. What was it, about a
So,
6 months, a year,
something like that.
almost.
It was a crazy amount of time, but yeah, but he only got that push because they needed somebody to step in for Shawn Michaels.
hmm
Um, and Bret Hart was there, but so was Diesel. You always have to have those two guys. It was like you have your Hulk Hogan and your Macho Man. You always have
Right.
to have those two guys. Those two guys vying for the title. So yeah, it made sense that they would push Diesel, but as soon as Shawn Michaels came in, it's kind of he just got back in the back burner, and you could see the Royal Rumble, what happened, and the body language that he gave out. So yeah.
Well, do you think like let's think about it. The Undertaker pulling fucking Diesel under the ring
Hmm.
at the end of that match.
Hmm.
A little cartoonish still. I mean, a little
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
like overdone maybe.
Well, I mean, I mean, the Undertaker was still using the Undertaker's powers or Undertaker's abilities or whatever. He was still being that heel.
hmm
So yeah, was it cartoonish? Of course it was. I mean, it was his gimmick.
Oh, what do you think, that this event actually set up for WrestleMania?
This is Rage in the Cage. So then let's go ahead and go into WrestleMania then.
All right. Well, before we do that, what did you give for Rage in the Cage?
Uh 3.
3? Yeah, I gave it a 4.
You give it a 4? Nah, you're more generous than I am in that one.
Well, the matches were decent. Like I mean, they were decent for what they were. I felt bad for the Razor Ramon match. I think that one was just stupid.
That,
But
that's the one that did it for me. That was the one that I was just like, ugh.
yeah, but I mean, the final match was okay. It did what it needed to, and they were they were decently done. I think they could have done a little bit better job with storyline development or done better stories with it. But if we think about it back then, I'm not a writer, so
Right, right.
all right. So then, yeah. So from Rage in the Cage, from there, what do we go into the next month? The following month, was that WrestleMania? Yes, it was.
It's WrestleMania. So WrestleMania, this one was Jesus. So this happened March 31st of 1996, and this was at Anaheim, the Arrowhead Pond where the Mighty Ducks play.
Ah,
Which is funny because you look at the attendance, it only holds 18,000
wow.
for a WrestleMania. I was like
That's a
18,000.
yeah, that seems like a
Yeah,
small event.
yeah. Especially being this is their big, the big this is the pay per view of the year.
Well, you know what? I wonder if we'd have to look into that maybe on some of the other WrestleManias,
Right.
like before that, and see how big the crowds were, because maybe that was a big crowd for that time.
Well, I mean, you think about 18,000, and then you hear about like 50,000, 60,000, 70,000,
Right,
in those
right.
arenas. So yeah, 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 yeah. I get you. I mean, compared to what was it? Oh my goodness, what was it? Not the first WrestleMania, but I think there was another WrestleMania where they held it in Detroit, and it was like almost 100,000, maybe like 90,000 people.
Wow. Yeah.
So like when you compare that, and that was before this. So I mean,
Was it done in a stadium?
yeah, it was done in the
The Lions?
yeah, it was in the Detroit. I forgot the name of the stadium that they played in before, but it was a big stadium. It was a massive stadium. The Metrodome. Thank you, the Metrodome. The Metrodome. Hit me right now. But yeah, the Metrodome was a huge stadium, and yeah, 90,000.
That's a lot of people.
Yes, yes.
But all right,
At
so
that, yeah.
WrestleMania. So what are we? WrestleMania 12?
WrestleMania. Yes, XII.
Yeah,
That
WrestleMania
is 12.
12.
It's funny saying that WrestleMania 12. So then again, tag team match. For some reason, though, it was I forgot why they vacated the WWF championships. I think the Smoking Guns broke up. I think at that time. So then you had the Body Donnas versus the Godwins. The Godwins. Remember the Godwins?
The Godwins. That was the guys with the overalls
Yeah, yeah,
and then the
exactly. The
buckets.
pig farmers. Yeah, the pig farmers.
Uh huh.
Alleged
Okay.
pig farmers.
Yeah.
Stupid gimmicks. Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah. You had that match. It was just pretty basic. Uh, yeah, a basic tag team match that the I think the Body Donnas. Yeah, the Body Donnas won that one. But yeah, it was it was a tag match.
Uh, but from there you also had Owen and the British Bulldog and Vader versus Ahmed Johnson, Jake Roberts, and Yokozuna.
Yeah, yeah, it was a six-man tag. I'm sorry. But before that though, there was this there was this match that they did um to make fun of Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man Randy Savage for going to WCW. It was a match between the Huckster and the Nacho Man,
Oh,
and
nice.
it was refereed by a guy named Billionaire Ted, and it was just this weird, um, thing this petty match that Vince McMahon wanted because he was mad that Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man went to WCW for with Ted Turner. So like it was weird because they were having their typical moves sets and this and that, and then all of a sudden it looks like they just die in the ring. Yeah, because the first match of the night, it was the pre matches, so like it was before the pay per view. It was the Body Donnas and the Godwins for the tag titles, and then the Huckster and the Nacho Man that ended in them dying.
Okay.
so then, um, then we have this random match where it has Jim Cornette. I think Jim Cornette had a stable. I think that's what it was. He had a stable um, that were supposed to rival. I think the mon- the the $1 Million Man, because the $1 Million Man had his staple
Right.
and Jim Cornette had his staple. So yeah, the Bulldog, Owen Hart, and Vader were with Jim Cornette,
That's
and
an interesting stable.
yeah, and then it was Ahmed Johnson, Jake the Snake, and Yokozuna um, in that six-man tag, and they yeah the of course the stable with Jim Cornette we're gonna get their push, so they won that match. Um, and then this is the one that I always remember from WrestleMania 12 was the Piper and Goldust match, which is the Hollywood Backlot Brawl. This one I remember because they actually used footage from the O.J. Simpson chase in that white Bronco.
Wow.
Yeah, it always sticks out to me. I was like, what are we doing? What is this? You know what that is?
Wow.
It's not a man. Like I remember them getting to a Bronco and then driving off, and like they had the footage, and like you could hear Vince McMahon in the background saying, "Oh, this footage looks very familiar," and I'm just like.
Yeah, it should. Hmm.
So I'm there. I remember watching this and laughing because we knew what it was, but then years later, you realize how stupid that whole thing is. It's like this has to be a Vince idea. This is
It
definitely a
has to
Vince
be.
idea.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It
There's just
has
no
to
other
be.
words.
I just want to push something to make it more.
Yeah, so it's just dumb. And then from there we had a couple of other matches. Now then, the one that also, like I said before, caught my eye and was the precursor, of course, to the Monday Night Wars and Attitude Era was this is one of the first times we hear the name Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What?
So I think it was the month before he drops that moniker of the Ringmaster.
Right.
Stupid name. It's just a ridiculous name.
But
He
wasn't
was known as
he? I was gonna say, wasn't he part of
Ted DiBiase. Yeah,
Ted DiBiase's group?
he carried the $1 million championship
Yeah,
around,
that's right. Okay.
and he was Ted DiBiase's $1 million champ.
Hmm.
That's what it was. So then he dropped the moniker, and this is where we find Stone Cold Steve Austin. So yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Savio Vega, and he knocks out Savio Vega. This is where we're starting to see the little bit of the that Stone Cold,
Right.
which we'll see later on about what happens later on about that. So then yeah, then a weird match. The shortest match I think I've ever seen, where it's the Ultimate Warrior who was fired from the WWE for his substance abuse and his attitude and everything, beats Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And I think this is the last time we see the Warrior for like a long, long time.
Well, that was. I think this was like right before he got fired completely from the company or separated from the company.
Yeah, yeah. So this is like his last appearance until I don't know when. I forgot when it was his next appearance, but yeah, this is just it's a very short match. It's only like a minute and 15, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like I think this is the one where in I remember this one because in the documentary that WWE released, not unauthorized, it was a WWE documentary that they released talking about the Warrior. I remember Triple H on there saying that he was the most unprofessional guy that he had
Yeah.
ever wrestled with.
I remember, yeah, there's been a lot of the some of like the podcasts and stuff I've listened to, and they talk about it, and that he was just a very unprofessional wrestler. Like he was
Yeah,
horrible, very
yeah.
toxic.
Well, I mean, that's what I remember. Uh, Jake Roberts, he was supposed to get his push. He was supposed to be champ a while back,
Hmm.
but the Warrior wouldn't give him that match, and it never happened. That's a sad thing because Jake Roberts was a guy that was
He
um,
had the push. He
yeah,
had the
yeah, he,
crowd. You like
yeah, he
he
was a
was,
crowd favorite. Everybody loved him, the whole thing,
but it's
and
funny because he was a heel, which made it
mhm,
even better.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, with this, yeah, but the Warrior, love him or hate him, those memorable nonsensical promos that he would have just the warrior spirit will come into everybody and then we'll do some magic or whatever the hell he would say. Who knows? He would go on these crazy rants. I have no
He
idea.
was a strange character.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, that's what happens when you get hooked up on cocaine and like cocaine and protein and steroids. That's what happens, man.
I guess so. Yeah.
And then, of course, this accumulates until the match between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, the famous. Iron Man match.
So the Iron Man match. What do you think?
It's one of the best matches I've ever seen. Still to this day,
Very much so. Yeah.
it was a back and forth. They told the story. As much as Bret Hart did not like Shawn Michaels, um, you have to respect Shawn Michaels' talent in the ring.
Oh, yeah. No,
The
no.
dude just,
Shawn Michaels has always been good in the ring.
yeah, you have to just respect the way he works. Um, yeah, it's one of those matches that you just watch back and is art. This is what wrestling is all about. This is art right here.
Right.
It's not two gigantic guys going at each other. These are guys that are, they're not small either. They're, well built guys that
Right.
know what they're doing in the ring. That you know, it's like a dance partner. Once you
Right.
find a dance partner, you have a great dance partner. You
They
find
can
that partner,
dance
you
very
stick with
well.
that. Exactly. They dance, and that's exactly as much as they hate each other. They are great dance partners.
Exactly. Exactly. But
It's
no,
yeah.
I,
Go ahead.
I I completely agree with though that match is definitely if you were to do a top 10 of classic matches, that one would be in that list. That probably I would say anywhere in the top three.
Yeah, yeah. If you had to pick one match out, that was like what got you into WWE, like what made you want to watch WWF, was this match right here.
Yeah,
It was this match right here. I think it was the first Iron Man match ever too.
yeah, I think this was the first Iron Man match.
So yeah, we never seen anything like it, and what they did in there was just things that it's like, okay, this is why I watch wrestling. This is the exact reason why we're all fans. It's this type of stuff right here.
Yeah, and that's what made it so much better is and such the draw to it is watching that kind of match. It was like wow, like you saw all sorts of maneuvers, all sorts of back and forths, and it was just like it yeah, it blows you out of the water that first time.
Yeah, this match alone, I'm telling you right now, makes this entire pay-per-view a 10.
So you give it a 10?
Yeah, because of
All
that match
because of that
alone.
match.
That one match, all the rest of them you could say are silly or whatever, but because of this match right here, it's a 10.
I agree. No, I definitely agree. That match right there is what made the pay-per-view. Now, it would have been better with a bigger crowd, but you know what? Who knows? It started that for them, and they saw what that match did and used it in the future.
Yeah, and that's exactly why they went to this the new generation of wrestlers, because they were getting away from those the big hulking monsters like
Right.
Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man.
The bo-
Unfortunately, they fall.
Almost like what you would say the bodybuilder. You know,
Yeah, exactly. They were getting away from that golden era of wrestling, whereas the bodybuilder type, and they were going more with the athletic, more uh, more I want to say technically sound wrestlers.
right? Yeah, exactly. All
So
right.
even though like you had Scott Hall, who was a big guy himself, but he could still wrestle though. He could still move in the ring.
He wrestled
It's
well
those
too.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he could do the
exactly,
maneuvers and do the the rope stuff if they needed to.
exactly. So then from there we move on into the next pay per view, the next In Your House, which is Good Friends, Better Enemies.
That is yeah.
So this was the match. This is like the main match was Shawn Michaels and Diesel in a no holds barred match for the championship.
See, and
And this is
this is
yeah,
right before Diesel left for WCW, right?
yeah. So this is like basically his like farewell match, basically.
Okay. The
So yeah,
goodbye.
like yeah, because like he did great things. He did great things for the company. He did great things for the company, and they were at least gonna give him a swan song. So
Right.
They gave him that championship match against Shawn Michaels. Again, his one of his best friends, the Click. Um, they gave him that chance, just that one last
Hurrah.
championship run.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
that
one
one
last
last
championship
hurrah.
shot. Yeah, that one last hurrah. And you could really hate um Vince McMahon for what he did for not signing back those guys, but at the same time, at least he respects them a little bit.
Right. He respects him enough to say, okay, I'll give you that last match.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was interesting that they have that match as just like as a final hurrah, final goodbye to the character Diesel.
Hmm. See, and then with this, with this pay per view also, you had the debut of Mankind.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that too. I thought he would have had been there for a while, but no, this is the first time that we actually see Mankind. Yeah.
So it's like, ooh, now you begin to see that change
Hmm.
in the storylines, and it's starting to get a little bit more, okay.
Yeah, you just see these little inklings, these little things that are starting to get towards that more extreme, the the Attitude Era.
So, and then you've got Goldust versus Ultimate Warrior. They're continuing that whole storyline.
Yeah, which is which is weird because then um it was for the Intercontinental Championship, and they gave it to the Warrior.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's just interesting that they would give the Ultimate Warrior another chance in the WWE after all the stuff he did. So making him Intercontinental Champion, I mean, in a sense, the Warrior still at this time a well liked, well loved, well respected among the fans.
right. Well,
The
see,
fans, they still, yeah.
and this pay per view, it's an interesting one if you really look at it. You've got Mark Marrow who defeats
Hmm.
the 1-2-3 Kid by disqualification, of course. But
There it is. There it is. Disqualification. There it is again.
mhm. but you have the debut of Mark Marrow,
Hmm.
and it's weird
With
because
with Sable. Hmm.
just the month before, Mark Marrow was wrestling in a WCW pay per view.
Hmm. Yeah, that's how fast these things change, man. They say they see these guys. You see these guys just jumping over here, and like Mark Merrow was supposed to be like the replacement for like the Macho Man or
Right.
Hulk Hogan, and that's just weird. Like
It
you're gonna
was
compare Mark Merrow to those two guys? Really?
maybe
Really?
I would see Mark Marrow more as like a Rick Rude.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Especially with Sable. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like that would be
Absolutely.
definitely the way to go with that.
That's funny thing. The funny thing is, like, the one thing that we're alluding to is that these pay-per-views they're still being announced by Vince McMahon and Mr. Perfect.
Right.
And I forgot that Mr. Perfect was basically he wasn't retired, but the WWE still saw him as an asset, so he was doing announcing. He was doing the same thing that Jesse the Body Ventura and the Macho Man were doing with Vince McMahon.
Right.
They were not wrestling for circumstances I don't understand
They
either.
were
For
injured or
Yeah,
just
they were injured.
risk
Yeah,
of
yeah,
risk
something.
of injury or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so then they had him announcing, and this is what Mr. Perfect was doing. And like, if you hear some of the pay-per-views, it sounded like he was going to retire or he was on the point of retirement. But then when he jumps to WCW, he's Kurt Hennig and
And
he's wrestling.
wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just weird. I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there. I'm sorry, my bad.
No, I completely agree. It's strange that I wonder why. Like
Was it contract disputes? I mean, I'm
maybe
guessing contract disputes, or
maybe he was on
they were
his way
just,
out just at that
yeah.
point.
It's just those things again where they're phasing these guys out. When it's funny because Mr. Perfect is the perfect guy to wrestle with guys like uh, um, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels because he was extremely athletic. That was
Right.
one of the most athletic dudes that they had in the company, and they sidelined him. I mean, I don't get it.
But then you also have Vader versus Razor Ramon, and Vader defeating Razor Ramon.
Yeah, yeah. It's just because Vader was a big get for the WWE at the time. Vader, I think, was a WCW guy before, and
He wrestled in February for WCW.
yeah, so he was a WCW guy, and he jumped ship to the WWF, and they made him. They were gonna make him the next big guy. They were gonna make him the next big thing, and yeah, it's just that one little push more to for Razor Ramon. It's just that one little thing to Scott Hall, that one little nudge right there, that one little thing that says, "Hey, this is your replacement. This is the guy that we're gonna push instead of you."
Right. Exactly. It was just that, you know what? Here's a little bit of a little bit of lemon juice on that cut that we just sliced across your throat there. You
Yeah, and
know,
and like that's the thing that they reduced uh, Razor Ramon, the character, to. He's basically a jobber now.
yeah, exactly.
So unfortunately, that's what happens. You know, if you don't sign the contract, we're gonna job you for the rest of the time, and that's what they're doing here. They're just burying him and jobbing him.
See, and that's at that point, I can understand why he would jump ship.
Yeah.
Like it's like, hey, you know what? I'm not getting the pushes I need, I want. I'm not getting the money I need, I want. Nope, I'm out of here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But then the last match for that pay per view, we had Shawn Michaels, defeating Diesel with that no holds barred match, which we said again, it was that goodbye. Here's your last match. Have a nice day.
Yeah, here we're gonna give you a good send off. You're gonna wrestle your good friend uh, in a no holds barred match, and c'est la vie.
Yeah. So overall, what would you rate this pay per view?
I mean, considering that we're getting Mark Murrow, Vader, and of course, it is I think the first pay per view with Stone Cold Steve Austin in it. I'm gonna give it 5.5.
All right. So from there, we move on to what was our next pay per view? Oh,
Beware of dog.
Beware of Dog. That's a weird pay per view name.
In your house 8, beware of dog. Why beware of dog? I don't know.
Well, it's
So
look at the main event, and that probably explains it.
oh, the British Bulldog, gotcha. Okay,
Yep.
he was going he was going for the title. I see. Okay, I guess. I guess. I don't know. Some of these are silly.
Well, you had the Smoking Guns versus the Godwins. I mean, that was both teams at that time were pretty good and decent teams.
Well, they were popular. That's what they were. They were
Yeah,
popular.
they really the crowd really did enjoy them.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm still trying to figure out why they vacated those champions.
Mm, we had Mark Merrow defeating Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
What?
Weird. But I guess they were pushing Mark Merrow and
They're
Sable. That's why
yeah.
I think they were pushing more Sable
I was gonna
than
say
Mark
I
Merrow.
think that one was that one was more of a push of Sable than Mark Merrow. I think definitely. I think
Yeah.
she helped him with his push.
Absolutely. And then there was Savio Vega beating Stone Cold Steve Austin in a Caribbean strap match.
Okay,
Yeah, just some stipulation there. Okay, Caribbean strap
we're
match.
gonna
What's
throw
a
a
Caribbean strap
stipulation
match?
in. Same as a regular strap match.
Yeah, it's just a strap match. Just you put Caribbean in it. Okay, all right, yay.
But
So,
you got to think about it at that time. That's when they were beginning to really get Stone Cold going and really starting to show that ruthlessness of Stone Cold.
yeah, they're showing it just a little bit. They're giving these little inklings. They're just building little by little.
Hmm.
So you're seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin, just a little bit with that attitude, that badass that we're gonna see later on. So we're not defined we're not defining ourselves just yet. That's just a little bit further down the road.
And then we had, Vader versus Yokozuna. Like,
Yeah, a battle of
big men.
two extremely large men. Yes.
Yeah, that one, that I'm sure they had to add some support to those rings so it didn't, you know, fall down and collapse.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And then we had Goldust defeating the Undertaker in a casket
Yeah.
match
Yeah. For the
for the IC
Intercontinental
title.
title. Yeah, for the IC title, which is weird though, because not that long ago, the Undertaker's a champ. The Undertaker's a champ, and the Undertaker is another guy. He's a big, extremely big dude, but he could
But
move
he's
around.
agile.
He's very agile. He's very athletic. He's a guy that that can do these maneuvers and moves with Bret Hart, with Shawn Michaels.
Right.
So it's very interesting to see that they would push him all the way down to mid card.
Well, I mean, see, and that's one of those weird ones of it all depends on how you determine the belt. I mean, IC title, I think the IC title is a much better title because that one truly is usually a defending champion. They wrestle every week.
Well, I mean, the IC title this time is like, you're gonna get the push. You're gonna get the push sooner or later.
Uh-huh.
We're
It's that
building you up.
holding. Yeah, it's that
Yeah, yeah.
holding pattern.
Exactly. So it's like you at this time. This is what the IC title was. It was second in line. It was number
Hmm.
two. Eventually, you're gonna be number two. For right now, we're gonna build and build and build, and then when it's time for you to make your run, you'll drop it, and
And
then
then
you're
you'll
gonna make
go
the run
after
for the yeah
the main title.
yeah, and that's how it was. And so you see, it's just weird that Gold Dust would be that guy though.
Maybe because at that time or at that point, Vince McMahon is beginning to want to push Undertaker up the card, and then that gives Goldust that IC title because I mean Goldust really was a good character.
He was popular.
Yeah,
He was popular
he was
because he was
well.
weird.
Yeah,
He
he
was
was
he was supposed to. Oh,
well received by the crowd.
sorry, sorry, weird. That's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be weird with quotation marks. All today we just know him as, just he had his fetish.
Yeah. But then our main event match, we're talking Shawn Michaels versus the British Bulldog,
hmm
and
with family members from the Hart family too. There,
yeah, exactly. Which is that's you got to think about it. It ends in a draw. Like,
yeah. Well, no contest. Yeah, like
so it's one of those where it's like, why didn't they put someone over?
uh, I don't. I
Bulldog
have
on
no
his
idea.
Bulldog on his potential, beginning his downward run there at that point, and that was because of injury and stuff like that. You know, Shawn Michaels now beginning his upward momentum, and he's already champion. So why didn't you just keep Shawn Michaels as champion and have him win? Now, was it because you respect the Hart family and you didn't want to embarrass one of their people because he came? I mean, Bulldog came from the Hart dungeon,
Yeah, and that's again, it's that whole thing with with Shawn Michaels versus the Hart family. That even going back to in his rocker days and the Hart Foundation.
right?
Uh, it's just one of those things where you look at the overall history and Shawn Michaels and the Hart family is just one of those stories that you could tell that I don't know. I guess you can't have one without the other in this case.
You've
you,
always got to have that good guy and bad guy.
yeah, yeah, you always have to. And in this case with Shawn Michaels, because he's still the Heartbreak Kid. Um, yeah, he's always having these run-ins with his family that he just can't get away from. It seems like so. So I don't know.
Well, overall, what would you give the pay per view?
I give it a 4.
A 4? Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't really a great pay-per-view. I mean, it was decent, but I would say, yeah, maybe a 4, 3.5, maybe. I mean, all right. So from there we go on to
King
King of the
of the
Ring.
Ring. And this is it right here. This is, I think, right here, the beginning of the Attitude Era because of one single event.
Okay.
You sit there, you thump your Bible, and you say your prayers, and you didn't get anywhere. Talk about your Psalms, talk about your John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, "I just whipped your ass." And the crowd went crazy from there.
Exactly. Yeah, no, this is where you see the beginning of that Attitude Era.
Exactly. So this is what I think is the start of the Attitude Era right there with that one single thing that he says.
Well, with that though, you've also got to, take into a fact that, you know, you still had Shawn Michaels dealing with the Hart Foundation. It's another one of the Shawn Michaels British Bulldog.
Again, yeah.
You had Ahmed Johnson defeating Goldust for the IC title. So does this mean, okay, now we're going to start to push Ahmed Johnson?
Well, they wanted to because Ahmed Johnson he was a big dude. Ahmed Johnson was
Yeah.
a big guy, and he had that potential. It's just that he wasn't exactly the best on the mic, and his wrestling skills were, you could say, but he was a big guy. He was a really big guy, and he was popular among the people. He really was popular among the people. So, um,
What
yeah,
was it you think that made him so popular with the people?
I think because it didn't have to do anything with like the persona. It was just him in general, where like he was this dude, just a big, strong dude. I think people gravitated to him because he was uh like a bigger version of the Junkyard Dog.
Okay.
That's what it was. Yeah, he was like JYD.
Okay.
That's what it was. The people reminded him. Yeah, that's what he reminds me of. He reminds me of a bigger version of the Junkyard Dog.
Eh, okay. Valid point. Yeah, but with, we also start to see the beginning of the whole Mankind versus Undertaker here. This is, I
Hmm.
mean, definitely look at this match. I mean, it's definitely one of those where it's like, hmm, it's a different style.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
you can definitely see that change and that beginning of that Attitude Era with this pay-per-view.
right. You could see the little inklings here and there. I mean, if I remember correctly, I think this is one of the last pay-per-views with Jake the Snake Roberts. I think.
Yeah, I think this was one of his last few.
Yeah, because yeah, when Stone Cold whipped his ass and started the whole run. Yeah, I think this is like the ending of uh, the Jake Roberts that we knew from that golden era of wrestling.
All right, what would you give this pay-per-view?
Uh, considering considering how big of an event it was, I'm giving it a 9.
9? All right. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I would say a 9 would be a valid.
Not It's not so much the matches that I'm telling you about.
No, but
It's
it's what
just
it did. It's what
it's
it.
the impact.
Yeah, it's the
It's
impact that it had overall on wrestling. It
what we
changed. It changed.
Yeah, what we're gonna see much later on in the future.
Exactly. And then from there we go into international incident in your house.
In Your House International Incident, which is in Canada, Vancouver, British Columbia.
This better be good.
And not a whole lot there on that card.
yeah,
It's
I
it was a pretty weak card for, I think, for for a pay-per-view.
and then you have Mankind versus Henry Godwin, Stone Cold Steve Austin beating Mark Romero, Undertaker beating Goldust, and then there's this six-man tag: Bulldog, Hart, Owen Hart, and Vader, which is Camp Cornette is the name of the stable,
Yeah.
versus the People's Posse: Ahmed Johnson, Shawn Michaels, and Psycho Sid.
Who was originally supposed to be the Ultimate Warrior, but he was removed from the match.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a huge thing. Really, the only thing it does is it sets up to SummerSlam because you've got Vader pinning Shawn Michaels.
Right, right. And there was this whole thing like it's like, oh, look at this, look at Vader. Here comes Vader. Here comes Big Bad Vader.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
and don't get me wrong, Vader was an amazing wrestler. Like Vader started, in New Japan.
right.
So Vader, like he was a strong style wrestler, is what they, what they called it. The It's really interesting to look at Vader because Vader came from WCW right around the same time as Mick Foley.
Mm-hmm.
And Mick Foley at that time was wrestling at WCW as Cactus Jack. And they had a nasty free for all. And I'm not sure if it was this year, like it was earlier in the year, or if it was in the previous year. But I think it was the year before in the Halloween Havoc. Oh, it was a very Cactus Jack Vader extreme match.
Was it a bloodbath?
Yeah. Like both of them
Okay.
got lit up, sliced open. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah, so from there, we go into SummerSlam, which is another one of their mainstream pay-per-views. Like this
Yeah,
is,
this is one of the big ones. One of the big.
Let's get ready to rumble!
and so we've got Shawn Michaels versus Vader for the championship.
Yep. And that's what it was. It was like, you know, man, man versus monster. That's what it was like. Man versus monster. Here it is.
See, now one of the things, I sort of wonder and question of why they thought this was a good idea was the whole Jerry Lawler versus Jake Roberts and using his addiction,
What?
real life addiction stuff in the match.
This is again. Um, it's they want to try and bring that reality into the WWF at this time,
Yeah.
and it just hit way too personal,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, no,
and it's just one of those things you look back on and you just like, wow, no, It's like no, this is not, this is no, absolutely not. This is wrong. This is terrible. Like
like,
you don't do that.
why? Yeah,
Yeah,
why?
you don't do that. That's just that's their personal, that's their personal thing. Unless they give you the okay, unless they tell you something that it's fine, but you're making it public that you're an alcoholic, a drug addict. It's terrible. It was just a bad look.
Oh, a little
Yeah,
bit of the
no,
bubbly.
definitely agree. But let's take a look at the card here. You've got Steve Austin defeating Yokozuna.
Hmm.
You've got Owen Hart defeating Savio Vega. Like, the card is a little weird there on that one. Now the one good thing was you had the um, Smoking Guns in the four-team elimination match, and they retained their tag team championship.
Right, and they beat the New Rockers. The
Yeah,
New Rockers, Marty Jannetty, and do you remember Leaf Cassidy?
yes,
Because I don't.
he was he was all of one match.
Really?
Yeah,
Uh,
and it might have been probably that one. Like there wasn't a whole lot.
Actually, Leaf Cassidy, you know who that really is, Mike? Al Snow.
But look at Leaf Cassidy.
I know, but it's Al Snow. Al Snow is Leaf Cassidy.
Is he really?
Yeah, that's why we never heard from him again because he's Al Snow.
Well, there we go.
So yeah, he was part of the New Rockers with Marty Jannetty, and they beat the Godwins and again the Body Donnas.
Uh, why?
And yeah, why the Body Donnas? Well, I'll give you one reason why.
What?
Sonny. That's why. You had at this time you have Sable and Sonny, these two really very good looking blondes at the same time.
Right.
Who are you gonna push? Who are you gonna push?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but that
And then
makes it makes a lot of sense. With the fact that you also had Goldust and Mark Marrow.
you have three very good looking blondes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But that's if you really think about it, that's where a lot of the this is right before the diva
Mhm.
stuff started.
Yeah. So you've seen these three women are already starting to have their impact in the WWE because
Hmm.
Mark Merrow was starting to get pushed. Goldust, he's getting pushed, and the Body Down they're in that same um, tag team contention. So you're seeing teams plus these guys getting pushed because of
Their
these
manager,
valets.
yeah, their
Yeah, they're
valets.
valets. Yeah.
Now you also had one of the best matches of the card. You're talking Mankind versus the Undertaker in a boiler room match.
The Boiler Room Brawl.
Like that is that right there makes the card. I think that match was just fun to watch.
Yeah, it's one of those gimmick matches that it makes sense. It makes sense because Mankind, he's demented, he's this sicko, blah blah blah. And then you have the Undertaker, who was, the first, well, not the first, but he's allegedly, in that same category as Mankind.
Yeah. What do you rate this pay per view?
SummerSlam, I thought it was, eh, I give it like a 4.5.
4.5 for.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, no, I'd say the boiler room match alone gets it a couple points. You there, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I would
then
say a five because of it did some good storyline progression. I think.
mhm. And that's the thing though. You're starting to see better storylines.
Yeah,
That's the thing that you're starting to see now. You're starting to see a
exactly.
little bit more of these elongated storylines, like Shawn Michaels and Vader.
Would you like to know more?
All right. So then from SummerSlam we go into In Your House. It's time. Now what is it time for? Mind games. Here we go.
Yes, mind games.
So we've got Mankind, starting to target Shawn Michaels for his belt.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You see that? Yeah.
Uh, Undertaker, beginning, get a little bit into Mankind, his push for Mankind.
Right. Yeah. You're starting again these little inklings that you're starting to see. Um, and this is one of the first times that we actually get to see. I think Mark Henry. Mark Henry.
The
Uh,
strongest
I,
man.
the world's strongest man. Yeah. Mark Henry beats Jerry Lawler.
Meh. It's Jerry Lawler. It doesn't take much to beat him.
I mean, at this time, I mean, he's already older, but he's known. But he's like, he's in this the old man pervert, gimmick that he's doing. So yeah, and then against Mark Henry, it's just a
He
little bit of
wasn't
a
he
push for
wasn't
Mark Henry.
commentating at the time yet, right?
I think he was still wrestling still,
Okay.
so he wasn't a commentator just yet. I think he may have had some special appearances or special commentary.
Hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, this is the first. Yeah, this is the first time we see Mark Henry. He made his pay-per-view debut in this one.
No, what do you think about ECW showing up in the crowd?
ECW. Right, right. Because at this time, ECW and WWF were kind of working with each other. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I think we talked about it before in a previous episode where we were saying ECW was sort of that research and development for WWE for Vince McMahon.
Yeah, because they showed up during the Savio Vega match, right?
Uh, I don't remember which match it was they showed up in, like
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah, because I think it was Tommy Dreamer, the Sandman, and um Paul Heyman. That's what it was.
Okay. Oh, Paul
So then
Heyman. Oh, that explains a lot.
yeah, so yeah, they get their two big draws into this, and yeah, it was during the strap match because the strap match, of course, was supposed to be what extreme, right? So why not get the ECW guys who are Extreme Championship Wrestling in there,
But with the storyline there, as far as the storyline development, you had some pretty decent, match development, I guess you could say.
yeah, because then this is I think one of the first appearances of the Fa Diesel and Fa Razor Ramon,
Right. Hmm.
who Jim Ross brought along. This is weird.
But now you think about it, this is where WWE had lost a few of their bigger wrestlers, and now they're trying to, okay, how do we fix this, and how do we adjust to fix this, empty hole?
Right, right. And I think this is one of the first times that we see Brian Pillman also, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think this was sort of like right after Pillman had left WCW,
Hmm.
and then ended up in WWE or WWF at the time, um, and then offed himself. To say it sadly.
Right. So yeah, this is so like we see Brian Pillman here and Mark Henry. This is his first pay per view. Oh man, yeah. There's some there are inklings here and there of that attitude there that you're starting to see.
Yeah, you're definitely seeing the shift in development and everything.
Right, and then you're starting to see, of course, the more of the attitude era little by little.
Do you think that the undercard was strong enough to support the main event? Yeah, no, that pay per view, I think I'd give it maybe a three. There really wasn't
Three.
a whole lot. Yeah, there really wasn't a whole lot to go off of on it. Like the
Well, I mean,
matches were decent.
we had Brian Pillman come in. We had ECW. The acknowledgement that there is an ECW.
Well, yeah. I mean, most of the time with ECW, we were watching it, at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right, and then we see. I would say three.
All right, now we've got the buried alive in your house, buried alive, and
Buried
we
alive.
know where this leads because we're talking. This is Undertaker's push. This is where he's starting to develop that character a little bit more now. But
Yep.
you had the Stalker versus Justin Bradshaw. The Stalker. That's a horrible name.
I told you, stupid gimmicks, man. These stupid ass gimmicks that I just hate. So the stalker was actually played by a very respectable. wrestler by the name of Barry Windham.
Exactly. So why didn't like Barry
Why was
Windham?
he just Barry Windham?
Yeah,
Because they didn't want Barry Windham. it's
yeah. The stalker now it doesn't work.
it's just it's stupid because he was a really good technical wrestler. He was a guy that he was a big dude. He was 6'6",
Yeah.
but he
See, and
could move.
he could move well. He was very agile in the ring. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and uh,
It's sort of weird though if you think about it, because Barry Windham, he's the father of you know, other wrestlers as well.
yeah. His father was Blackjack Mulligan,
Yeah, who was
a
a it
well-known
was a it
wrestler.
was a wrestling part of the big wrestling families.
Yep, yep. And uh, yeah, I don't know why they just didn't. I don't know why they just didn't stick with his name because, and when he was wrestling for NWA, he was big time a big time wrestler, a
Right,
very good wrestler, a
exactly.
very technical wrestler. And I don't get it. Why the stupid stalker? Jesus Christ. The stalker. Yeah, I tell you, it's these gimmicks that I just terrible. Like he was the stalker. I remember he was in camouflage, and he was supposed to be. I don't know. Like the best way I can describe him is Florida Man. That's it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, yeah. Then we had one of the very first Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H matches.
Yep, this is it started it right there.
This is one of the first ones. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, this would be a rivalry later on, but yeah, it was just those little inklings again. Um, and then you see Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. The Hart Foundation, kind of like the Hart Foundation, but they're with the Cornette. I don't know. They beat the Smoking Guns. Um,
Well, then we got Mark Merrow who defeated Goldust for the IC title.
mhm, there's that one, and then we have the number one contender for the WWF Championship at Survivor Series. We have Psycho Sid and Vader.
See, and you've got to look at that. You've got Sid Udy. I mean, he was an amazing wrestler. He was
Well, I mean, he was big, but I wouldn't call him amazing. I mean,
nah, he did. I mean, he was pretty well off in the ring. I mean, as far as his ability.
he was a big dude that could move in the ring, but I'm not saying like I don't think he was like amazing. I thought he was, just a big, strong guy, but I don't call him amazing.
Well, no, but I'm talking his crowd pull, not so much his ability in general. He had good ability to be able to, but he pulled the crowd. Like the crowd actually liked him.
Hmm. Oh
As
yeah, yeah.
as a heel character. I mean, the crowd really did like him. But here you go once again. You've got two heel characters facing each other. If you really think about it, because Vader
Hmm.
was the same way,
Yeah,
and
and yeah,
it's a number one contenders match.
right.
So it's like, okay, you've got to set the heels up for, you know, who was at the time? Shawn Michaels, right?
Yeah,
There we go. They've taken away those bigger names like Kevin Nash and, who they replace it with. Now you got Psycho Sid.
Psycho Sid, but yeah, like Psycho Sid. God bless him.
But really, I mean, I think this pay per view in itself, it really just was more. I think the Undertaker Mankind match. That's what made it a decent pay per view. But overall, I'd maybe give it a 4.
You think so?
Yeah,
With the Buried Alive? Okay.
but I
All
enjoy
right.
those type of matches, too. So that's why I say I might give it that extra little plus for it. But yeah, a 4 I think is a decent one.
Okay. All right. I'll give it a 4. All right. You convinced me. 4.
All right. So then our next pay per view, what were we going into?
Survivor Series.
Oh yes, Survivor Series.
Yeah.
1996 Survivor Series.
There aren't any survivors.
At MSG, Madison Square Garden, and this is on the poster. You could see you have the four guys that are going to be eventually they'll be pushing the company for the next couple of years. You have Shawn Michaels, Psycho Sid, Bret Hart, and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Aha! So now we begin to see that push for Stone Cold a little bit
And this
more
would
now.
be, and of course, there is one guy that's missing on this that makes his debut at the Survivor Series. Some kid named Rocky Maivia. I don't know.
You know what? I don't know who that
I,
Croc
I
is.
don't know. I don't know who that jabroni is either. I don't know. You got me.
You know, but I think he played Maui in some movie recently.
Yeah, and then he did some wrestling matches. But anyway, we'll talk about that later.
But yeah, it's you've got the you know Psycho Sid versus Shawn Michaels for the championship belt.
Yep. Yep. And in this one, before we actually get to that though, what's interesting is that you have uh Jake the Snake, Mark Miro, and Rocky Maivia with the Stalker, which is a traditional Survivor Series match
Right.
um, against Crush, Goldust, Jerry Lawler, and Triple H.
Yeah. Yeah.
which is which is funny because I think
Before that, you had you know the Godwins and what was the LeFron and and the French Connection or something, or
right,
I think they were
right,
the French Canadians or something.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, versus Owen Hart, British Bulldog, and the New Rockers.
yeah, yeah. Which is funny because Owen Hart he's also Canadian, but anyway, I mean it. Oh my god.
But then again,
Um,
it is a what do you call it, a gimmick pay-per-view in itself, I think. Yeah,
yeah,
because of
yeah.
Survivor Series.
Yeah, Survivor Series. It's always been well at this time it's a gimmick, and in this one, what I do remember from this one, and it sticks out, is the Undertaker and Mankind match because Paul Bearer was suspended above the ring
Was he in a shark cage or
in a
something?
shark cage. Yes, in a shark cage. Why? Reasons. Anyway,
I would say at that point though, wasn't like Paul Bear was doing working with Mankind at that time, I believe. Is that correct?
was it this one that he turned on the Undertaker? I think yeah, I think this is the inklings of when we're gonna get introduced to Kane eventually.
Okay.
So yeah, so like
Yeah,
he
because
turns on
Kane
the
comes up, I
Undertaker.
think, within the next couple pay-per-views.
I think so. That's what it was. And yeah, Shark Cage, so stupid. Oh my god, it's just ridiculous when you think about it. Just how crazy some of these things are. Oh my god.
What would you give that one, a four? If
Oh
that,
man.
a three maybe?
Uh,
There wasn't really. I mean, it really didn't have a whole lot draw to of it.
yeah,
Like it was okay.
it was just more of this uh, four on the traditional Survivor Series 4-on-4.
Yeah.
Teco Sid did beat Shawn Michaels in this one.
No. Okay. You know, what did we?
So I
What did
mean,
do you think kept that storyline going pretty well? Because
I think so.
okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So a four or a three?
I'm gonna go 5.
A five.
Yeah,
Okay. Support that one.
I think it's 5 because you again you're starting to see the inklings of the Attitude Era.
Okay.
You're starting to see a little bit more of that edge. So then, you also have um, Farouk also in
Right.
here as well. So you're starting to see
You're starting
that
to see the
edge.
development of
Yeah,
those clicks that really do bloom
yeah.
into that Attitude Era. Yeah.
You're starting to see the guys that are going to start pushing the WWE in that direction.
Right. Yeah. No, exactly. Okay. No, I'll give it the 5. No, I'll support that.
Yeah.
What?
All right. So then from there we go into It's Time in your
Now
house.
it's time,
It's
fool.
time.
Fast forward, dang man. Yeah, so this is the official um, last pay per
Last one
view
of
of
the
the
year.
year.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
is
December 15th of 1996.
so we've got Bret Hart, who's challenging Sid after returning successfully against Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Undertaker defeating the Executioner in an Armageddon rules match.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, so the Executioner was a very very talented wrestler by the name of Terry Gordy.
Okay.
Um, Terry Gordy, he would be eventually
Why does that
a
name
WWE
sound familiar?
a WWE Hall of Famer. He was
Where did he come
a
from?
part. He was a part of the Fabulous Freebirds.
Okay.
Yeah, Terry Gordy was part of the Fabulous Freebirds. So then, if you're a Texan and you don't know who the Fabulous Freebirds are, you're not from Texas because they feuded with the Von Erichs to cause one of the greatest feuds, not only in Texas wrestling history, but in all of wrestling. The Freebirds, the Fabulous Freebirds, and the Von Erichs is a legendary rivalry
Oh
that
yeah.
happened during the territory days of the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
But
That was here. I know here in Texas it was a huge thing.
yeah, so but
But
we'll eventually get there. We'll
we're
get
gonna
there
have to look
eventually.
into that.
Okay, but yeah, Terry Gordy was just a monster of a guy, but he could freaking wrestle. He
Yeah.
can go. He can go. And it's a shame because this is near the end of because he had an accident. He was in a car accident or some sort of accident, if I remember correctly, that really um that really stopped his career. He was in all Japan wrestling at the time,
Okay.
and he was
He had like a
um
motorcycle accident or something, wasn't it? Or a car accident?
uh, no, he overdosed on pain medication. That's what it was.
Right. Yeah.
He OD'd on pain medication, and he had permanent brain damage.
Ah.
So he could move around and he could do some things, but he was not the same guy as he was before.
Yeah.
So like what we're seeing here, this executioner was a shadow of what he was, and
Wow.
that's one of the great tragedies in wrestling. Was this guy was a fantastic wrestler. He was one of the all-time greats, but he was in that area where he was in so much pain
Yeah.
and he really did damage to himself. And unfortunately, yeah, this is near the end of his career, and this is one of the saddest things that I've ever seen was the executioner.
Uh, so let's talk about the like the main event a little bit. Do you think Sid proved that he deserved a championship?
Well, I mean, he did beat Bret Hart. I mean, did he? But I would say this is like the inklings of the WWE, pushing the big guy
Yeah.
again. They're
Yeah.
pushing the big guy. They're pushing
Going back to
Psycho
the
Sid because Yeah, going
the
back.
muscly, bulky bodybuilder style.
Yeah, but when you look at Psycho Sid though, he can maneuver better than Hulk Hogan could.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so I think
Well,
Psycho Sid, because he was gaining popularity.
but this
Yeah,
was also after the whole anabolic steroids thing, the whole trial and all that.
well, well, I mean, the '90s are a pretty dark time for the WWE, and we'll get to that. But yeah, one of them was steroids, one of them was sexual allegations, and then that would be alongside with the ring boy incidents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we'll get there
Well,
eventually.
oh
We
yeah,
will
I'm
get
sure
there
we'll get there
eventually.
eventually.
So yeah.
Now, do you think that the smaller buildings maybe made it feel a little bit better? You know, maybe a little bit more uh, it seemed like there was more of a crowd pop.
Yeah, it was louder because it was a more, a smaller area. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Overall, what would you give this pay per view?
Well, considering that we've got some guys in here, we got some. I would give it a 5.
A 5.
A 5.
Okay. I'll give it.
I think it was more impactful as far as like generation wise than it was like with the matches.
Right.
96, of course, an important year.
Very important
So
year.
so we'll call this part A for right now. So this is the WWF side of things, the pre the pre
The pre-war.
Attitude Era,
Yeah,
the pre-war.
this is the
So
pre-war era. So
we'll just call this the opening salvo. So anyway, but yeah, so we're just gonna close it on that with part A. Again, you can you can get a hold of us at cutscenes and clotheslines at Instagram. You can also follow us on Facebook. Again, cutscenes and clotheslines. You can also find us on the YouTube. Again, cutscenes and clotheslines. We're also on Discord. You can find us on Discord, the cutscenes and clotheslines, or you can also find us individually.
yeah, so look for us on Spotify, Apple Podcast. You can find us there. Uh, got a few episodes out there. You can also find us on YouTube. So search us up, give us a listen, let us know what you think, and hey, drop some messages. Let us know what your favorite WWF pay per view 1996 was. So you can go through any of those pay per views and let us know what you think. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope everyone has a great night. Fernie, it's been a wonderful night, sir. Um,
Indeed, sir. It's always nice going down memory lane.
I think we will definitely be doing a part 2 of this.
Absolutely.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and cut out here for the night. I hope everyone has a good night. Fernie, have a good night, sir.
You too, homie.